Buckle up for another episode of Ghostfacers, a supernatural rewatch podcast. My name is Richard, and sitting shotgun as always is my brother in podcasting, Reed.
Yeah, have you turned it off and turned it back on again?
We're starting the podcast right now.
Just turn it off first entirely.
Okay.
Then
The podcast.
turn it on. Turn it on. Can you turn it on for me? Shh. I need to kiss my brother.
Boop.
Let's get into it.
Ghostfacers! We're facing ghosts, when others will not. We're Ghostfacers! Stay in the kitchen when the kitchen gets hot. Ghostfacers! We're facing nightmare, we're facing dread. Ghostfacers! We're facing faceless, we're facing dead.
Welcome to Ghostfacers. Today we're discussing Season 4, Episode number 17, It's a Terrible Life.
That's right.
And that's just a fact. Now the episode title. No.
Yeah, we're not actually discussing an episode. We're just talking about how things are going.
This far in, and yeah, it's a terrible life.
Let's take a break.
Oh God, you sound like everyone I ever dated. It's a terrible relationship. Let's take a break. Today we are joined by a host of the Everything is Scary podcast, Amy Drolet.
Hello.
Welcome.
you.
Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to get into this.
Oh my God.
I honestly don't have enough opportunities to gab about supernatural with people.
I would love for you to just talk about sort of like your experience with the show, because I know that you're obviously a big like horror fan, and I think like that's probably your way in, but like how did you like stay through the whole thing, because it really becomes sort of not horror at a certain point.
Well, gosh, actually I know I remember exactly where I was. I was in, I think, a sophomore in college, and a good buddy of mine who happened to be out of the country at the time, she had mentioned the show that because she felt homesick, and this show really made her feel better.
Right.
Oh.
And it happened to star, the way she described it, two guys who should be underwear models.
Yeah.
And I said, aha. And I will say that definitely got me in the door.
Totally get it.
But the show itself, I think, also growing up with the X-Files, that made Supernatural almost like kind of a, and it's not that Mulder and Scully weren't hot. It's just these two.
It's a different level.
It's a different level of hot, and there was enough. Oh my God, just monsters and folklore and fucking scary stuff. Like dark, they go dark, and even when it's not as much horror, I was just so into the characters. Like it's the one show I'd say next to Game of Thrones that has affected me the most emotionally.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. I mean, yeah, the X-Files things is crazy, especially when you start looking at the production of the actual show, because so many people are X-Files people, and quite intentionally too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And well, I feel like for a little while, Supernatural reminded me of season 3 of the X-Files, when it was very Monster of the Week.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of loved that. Like,
Right.
And I know it's not something you can do forever. I'm just so glad that they did that too, and just the production value that they had, and also just whew.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. It opened the door and brought me out of the closet.
I don't know what you're talking about. We've never discussed our feelings about the hotness of those guys.
We haven't lost fans because maybe we got a little too thirsty. Good riddance. There's another podcast for you.
Yeah.
They just can't handle it.
That's right. That's you goddamn right. Look. Now that there's like a podcast with celebrities on it for Supernatural, we can just
still better.
Yep. We can really just sit in our filth. I think that's the key.
That's where we live, baby.
We may not be have the biggest stars, but we will be the worst that you could listen to.
Yeah.
Oh, happy to be here.
So did you listen all the way to, watch all the way to the end?
I watched all the way to the end,
Oh, I love it.
although I can't say that I always saw things chronologically.
Sure.
Because
Yeah.
Totally.
for about 4 years, actually until the pandemic, I did subtitles. I was an English subtitle editor. So I mean,
Like for the show.
When the thing about subtitles, depending on literally if it's on Netflix, if it's on Hulu, if it's or if it's just on the CW, all three have different styles of subtitles.
Really?
So absolutely.
They don't just take the same text and put it in their own font or something.
No. Well, yeah, but it's something that has to be, you got to start from scratch every time. And Netflix in particular, and I can say this because I don't work there anymore, they change their minds all the time. But when I say that I didn't get to see everything chronologically, particularly around seasons 12 and 13, sometimes I would be assigned an episode that had not come out yet.
Oh, jeez.
And like, for instance, I learned about Crowley, about what happened to our dear Crowley, because I had to do the subtitles for the next episode.
Whoa.
Oh my God.
And I was like, I remember sitting at my desk, literally looking at the text that I have to put in, said Crowley's dead. And I'm like, what?
Oh no.
So, and that's the danger of the job, because you get to see things early, no doubt, but sometimes it's too early.
Oh no.
Oh wow.
Jeez, that sucks.
That's wild.
That's crazy. What a weird show to do the subtitles for too. Like, it's such a fun way that they speak.
Happy.
Yeah, how do I spell this ancient Sumerian demon's name?
Dude, that was my job to look it up.
Sure, yeah.
That's kind of fun though, when you like a lot of that kind of like low folklore and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it is so cool. Like, half of the job of a person that subtitles is research. Like, you got to make damn sure that you are spelling the name of that random German city. You got to spell that correctly.
Right.
And the same thing goes for, folklore. Like, how would you spell, let's see, like Wendigo? Is it 1G? Things like that. Do you capitalize it? I got to look that up. And thankfully, I fucking love it. So
that's awesome. Yeah. I want to do that job. Oh my God.
Yeah, you're tired of creating the content. You just want to write someone else's down.
Data entry, baby. That's where I want to be. Looking things up, figuring out grammar and spelling.
Yeah, I guess you would love that.
Yeah.
I mean, as an English major, it was like, ooh, I'm basically proofreading all day.
Yeah.
And, checking out like, oh, I got to look up Jared Padalecki. How do you spell that last name?
Yeah,
for the 300th time. Yeah. I better double check.
I can't remember.
It's weird. I can only really figure out the spelling if I write shirtless after it, though.
Also, do they ever say Jared Padalecki in the show? You keep Googling it, but
I mean, that's very funny.
Sam,
is that one M or two?
That's really, I love that. That unironically sounds like a pretty dope gig, actually.
Yeah, that's very cool. All right, well, why don't we start talking about today's episode?
Sure.
So, this episode aired March 26th, 2009.
Okay.
It was written by the amazing Sarah Gamble. Will eventually rise up the ranks within the show. Love Sarah. Directed by James L. Conway and viewed by an estimated 3.13 million viewers.
Not bad. We're staying in the low threes for most of this season.
Totally.
Pretty consistent.
I sent this over to Amy, but what I will do is get you to watch it right now, which was the promo for today's episode.
Okay, I'm going to put some money down. It's a piece of shit. All right, let's see. That's not it.
Oh, that's not it? Oh.
That's the one. That's the
motherfucker.
I mean, that one's also a piece of shit.
Yeah, but that's the thing that's so funny about them is that, like, from as much as they care about so many details of the show, it feels like somebody just like sends it off to the marketing department without any like interest in like whether it's going to be like properly like communicated
Totally.
at all.
And this episode feels like it'd be a very easy one to like mess up in like a 20-second promo or 10 seconds or whatever it is.
Totally. All right, let's.
All right. It's just so like it's.
Oh my
nothing.
God!
Two strangers will discover.
I don't know about y'all. I love a good trailer voice.
I love the trailer voice, but the thing that makes me laugh so much is that like it's always the exact same cadence.
It's
like
one tone that they decided for this entire show. It's never funny.
it almost feels like an inside joke at this point that every promo for Supernatural will be like dramatic
in a world.
yeah
where-
in a world, and then the episode may or may not be like that.
Yeah. Are things going to be natural this week?
This much footage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's 100% what it was. Is somebody just like sent them like clips without any dialogue or anything? It's
Yeah.
just like silent clips, and they were like, "Make up the thing for this."
yeah I mean
Okay.
it's funny because it does seem to come from this like I don't know if it's like you still want new people to come in and watch your show, right? Because people are going to drop off. You want to replenish them or whatever. But I feel like all of the promos are always made as if no one has seen the show. Like if you watch the show, you don't sell that episode on like, what if they were meant for something? You sell it on like, wait a minute, Sam's an IT guy?
Yes.
Like, you sell the weirdness of it because we've been with them for 3.5 seasons.
Or
You
if
know?
if you haven't watched, you're at least like, "Oh, that's not what they normally do. Why is that happening?"
Yeah, exactly. It feels like they're always marketing it the way they would market the first 5 episodes.
Mhm.
Very odd.
It's so weird. What did you think about the promo, Amy?
Well, I mean, I'm kind of a sucker going back and looking at old promos. Although I gotta say, now that you mention it, that voice does pretty much. It's almost like an action movie voice.
Yeah.
Dum-dum.
And it's like that's just not quite right.
No.
As much as I love the voice,
Yeah.
it's like gonna give them the wrong idea, then they're gonna be mad.
Yeah.
It's always fascinating to me. Like, I wonder who it's for and if it works, because it certainly would not make sense to me at all. That was the thing that I've always made fun of for a really long time, was like the first promos I ever saw for this show. There was literally just the like 4 words. It was hot guys, hot show, and that's it. And I was like,
That's
I mean,
all you need.
sure, but like,
Just like there've only been 4 sex scenes in as many seasons.
yeah, you would think there'd be a lot more considering the way that they were trying to pitch this show.
Yeah. It's
Absolutely bonkers. Why don't we get into international titles?
Sure.
One of my favorite parts of this show, where we look at how people, what do different countries call this episode around the world?
Right.
So the title of this episode is a wordplay on the famous Christmas movie classic entitled "It's a Wonderful Life" from 1946. The ironic twist here is that when George Bailey is removed from his life in the movie, things are pretty terrible. But when the Winchester boys are removed from their lives, the world for them is kind of decent.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But what are
Also, it feels like they missed a trick that like Dean never goes like Castiel, Castiel. There's no.
you want the moon, Sam?
Nobody jumps off a bridge in this.
Yeah, absolute missed opportunity. We've got some bangers this week.
Really?
Oh, I'm very excited about.
All right.
This week.
Okay. So it's a play on words.
So
It's a terrible life.
It's. I was expecting it to be more down the middle than what it was, but
All right.
there's a few that get pretty close. But
All right,
my
let's have
favorite one might be the one that's the closest to it,
okay.
which is the German title.
The German title for this, I'm gonna guess it's like "We Hate Office Work."
No, it's. I mean, it's not as specific, but it's actually very close to the title, but just more like German.
Oh, terrible life, but good enough.
Worse than that. The German title is This life is terrible.
Fair. Amen, Germany.
Right to the point.
Yeah. It was too like cute before. They were like, no,
Yeah.
no. We need them to know.
Yeah, we don't want this going over anybody's head.
Yeah.
Efficiency.
Yes. Gotta love that German efficiency.
That is not the way in which you structure a sentence.
Yeah.
Here, let me see that.
The Brazilian title is What a Terrible Life.
Sure,
Yeah.
Like what a terrible life, or like what a terrible life.
No commas.
Okay.
Or question marks.
Okay.
Just what a terrible life.
That's what I would do.
They were like, no. That doesn't work for this
Even
one.
in Brazil, that doesn't fly.
The French title.
French title is like the ennui of the corporate world.
I was gonna say something with ennui. They love it.
This is so not a French title.
Okay.
But it's also like
is it like Old Man Ghost? Is it just called like Old Man Ghost or something?
No, but it's more about what the like lesson is of the episode.
Oh, classic France. Give it up the twist.
The title is
It could
Born
always
to
be
Hunt.
worse. Born to Hunt. Oh, sure, yeah.
Do, baby, we were born to hunt. Ne pour chasser. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, sure. Born to Hunt.
Yeah.
I get it.
The final one,
Hungary?
you know it is, baby.
Oh man, Hungary. I hope you brought it this week.
It's fucking bonkers.
Okay.
It's only just one word.
Okay, hit me.
The Hungarian title for this week's episode is Illusions.
What?
I mean, I guess.
I mean, not really.
This one episode.
Of all the episodes.
Not the magic one.
Of all the episodes to call illusions.
Not the magician's ones
not
that
the
we
one
just
with people
passed.
doing illusions.
This is the episode that's called Illusions.
That's
Do all their translations sound like album titles?
Mm-hmm.
Hungary.
So much
usually
so that we
is-
actually have a t-shirt on our website, ghostfacerspodcaststore.com, where we literally just put all the first season Hungarian titles as if it was like a tourist shirt, because they all sound
They're pretty
Wow.
wild, yeah.
That's awesome.
Illusions. Like even the Jinn episode is better for illusions
I know.
than this is.
This one's not really an illusion. They just changed their lives because it's fucking angels. Like they just made this their life.
Yeah, it's not an illusion. They just don't realize
Yes.
it's wrong.
Yes.
Like it's not a
They just changed their life without telling them. Like
that's
I think-
wild.
I think after rewatching it, because I haven't seen this one in a while, it did make me think, like, wait a minute. If this is an illusion, why are we seeing these other employees by themselves? And it's like, there you go.
Exactly.
Because they're smarter than that.
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
And there is something almost a little more cruel about actually making this their real life. Because if they had done anything crazy, thinking it was like, this isn't even real, like,
Yeah.
been bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they did the Groundhog Day, like drive off a cliff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So funny. All right. So some featured music from this episode.
Sure.
We've got A Well-Respected Man by The Kinks,
Sure.
which plays over the opening Dean montage. And then Hollow by Brian Tichy, the rock music that briefly plays on Dean's radio and interrupts the previous song, A Well-Respected Man.
Right.
TV Guide describes this episode as Sam and Dean live normal, separate lives, but they don't seem to know each other, even though they work at the same company. However, when colleagues start committing suicide, they team up to investigate the situation. It's like not at all explaining that. Like if you were looking at a TV Guide and being like, oh, all right, like
the first 3 sentences just talking about how the main characters don't know each other.
yeah, it's just like, all right, why is this a show? Not like characters who normally
Wait a minute, this
are
is
brothers.
season 4?
Yeah, characters who normally know each other don't in this episode. No, they're just like, these two guys don't know each other. Isn't that weird? It's like I mean I think I think I don't know more people than I do.
I love that. That's amazing. That's so funny.
So funny. Well, I definitely want to get into today's episode, but before we do, why don't we open up Dad's journal and learn about some of the real world lore?
Yeah, let's see what the lore says about Zechariah.
Oh shit!
Yeah, baby.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Yes, we meet a character named Zechariah, but we're talking about Zechariah because biblically it's spelt with an E.
Oh, and being correct is more important.
Actually. Yeah, so Zechariah is a very honored figure in both Christianity and Islam. He appears in the New Testament Bible and in the Quran. He's the father of...
Yeah, but which one's the right one?
Yeah, now is the time. Yeah.
I was about to say, we're going to have that talk now. Interesting.
Yeah, it's season 4, episode 17. Let's decide which religion is right after all.
Yeah, choose right.
I
mean, that's the real moral of the show.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's not the moral of the show. So Zechariah is the father of John the Baptist, and he's husband to Elizabeth, who is like a cousin of the Virgin Mary.
Wow, what a deep cut character. They really jumped the shark.
Yeah, well, he got like a 6-issue spin-off.
Yeah,
series. Yeah, from the main Bible mainline title.
It was just like a Book of the Boba Fett kind of situation.
Yeah, well, yeah, he dips out for episodes 5 and 6.
Oh, that's great. But Jesus comes in.
You don't even see Zechariah. You check in with what King Herod is doing because you were enjoying that one.
I like the part with the baby Jesus training session.
Yeah, but then Jesus chooses the armor.
Yeah.
Zechariah was an old man in the time of King Herod. He was a priest, and he was said to be extremely holy. He and his wife, Elizabeth, couldn't conceive a child in their youth. They're both very old. And then one day, the angel Gabriel appears to him and says that his wife would bear a son who would be the forerunner to the Lord. So John the Baptist. Zechariah very wisely says, we're really old, and my wife hasn't been able to conceive this entire time. How is this going to happen? And Gabriel says, are you fucking talking back to me? And makes him mute.
He's like, don't worry, bro. The Lord's got it. Am I right?
By the way, don't ever talk back to me again.
Yeah.
Zap. Yeah. No more words.
You're going to watch the Lord do his work, and you're going to like it.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, well, no. Zechariah's not Joseph.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Although.
Yeah, I mean, he's still culpable.
So Gabriel would then later go on to tell Mary that I hope your husband's on board, but basically someone else is going to make this happen for you.
You know what? He's surprisingly into it.
Yeah.
He just wants to know if he could watch.
He's jerking off underneath his amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Is that the same Joseph?
I don't know religion.
I don't either. So at any rate, I don't usually share direct quotes from the articles that I'm looking at, but this one made me laugh too much.
And you just truly believe in the text.
Yeah, well, and yeah, it really spoke to me. So apparently, when Gabriel goes to talk to Mary, Mary says, how will I have a son? I'm a virgin. And Gabriel responds with,
nice.
Gabriel responds with, this is just the first part of the sentence. Sure. The Holy Spirit will come on you.
Is that real? Oh. That is not how you have a baby.
And I mean, if you needed further proof that you shouldn't trust Christians to tell you about birth control or how conception happens, it's biblically they didn't know.
He's totally gonna pull out. It's fine.
Yeah.
He's gonna come on you. It'll be fine.
Yeah, and Gabriel said unto her, he'll totally blast it over your chest.
Trust me, I do it all the time.
Jesus Christ. So Zechariah is said to have been killed by the forces of King Herod, because I guess eventually King Herod is like, one of these kids out here is this so-called Messiah, and like, hell if I'm giving up my power. And he tries to round them up and kill them, and Zechariah refuses to disclose the location of his son, John the Baptist, and is killed. In Islam, he's believed to be a martyr, and it says that like maybe in one text he was sawed in half.
Whoa,
which is a pretty metal way to
illusions.
Yeah, at first they put him in a box. They had someone check the lock. God damn it, maybe Hungary was right
all along.
So Zechariah is considered a saint in Catholicism, and he's celebrated on September 23rd. Lutherans and Eastern Orthodox celebrate him on September 5th. In Greek Orthodox, Zechariah is celebrated on June 24th as well. And in general, Zechariah is commemorated alongside his wife Elizabeth. They're generally considered to be like a unit. You don't really commemorate or celebrate one without the other.
Like a G unit.
They are a G unit, yeah. In Eastern Orthodox, actually, the two of them are invoked a lot during like marital ceremonies because they were so holy and committed to each other and things like that. But yeah, there you go. That's Zechariah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Fun fact, has nothing to do with anything the show does with that name.
yeah, they really put him in a different position.
In any way.
No, they just were sort of like, that's a name.
They were like, this is a biblical name.
Yeah. And we're going to change it a little bit.
And by a little bit, a lot.
I mean, they just E to an A, isn't it?
Well, but I mean also everything about him.
Oh, sure. I thought you meant the name part. All right, well, with Zechariah, why don't we get into today's episode?
Let's do it.
Starting with the then, we get a lot of sort of like the Dean being rescued from hell. We get some of the previous episodes with new Alistair.
Get new Alistair.
We get Dean torturing. Amy, do you remember a lot of the stuff that you were seeing? I don't know when was the last time you watched all the way through the show.
Oh, I remember, particularly this season, because this is a special season, y'all. This is when Castiel showed up, and don't even tell me that you did not get chills the first time you
100%.
Everywhere.
100%.
What?
I'm sorry. This is a podcast. I am spreading my arms like the most divine angel wings you have ever seen, because that's what he has.
It's true.
Yeah. It's so divine.
I raised you from hell. I can throw you back in.
Oh my God, do it.
Yeah. Show me some respect.
Oh my God, what if I don't? You gonna teach me a lesson?
Yeah, we've talked about it a lot this season, that like we all kind of forgot the energy that Castiel comes in with in the show, because it morphs and changes as the show goes on, and we kind of forgot how like kind of like maliciously horny his scenes are.
Maybe we're putting the horny part on it, but
or the maliciousness.
Yeah, he's got big daddy vibes, and I'm there
time.
for it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue.
Look, who would? And we get some of the sort of like sort of heaven needing Dean, basically.
Yeah.
A lot of this sort of like the destiny of them is really being put forth here, which is like, heaven's here, you've got a job, like you need to do it. And we even see Dean in the hospital.
And
like
Dean's just like, I don't want it. Find somebody else, man.
Yeah. But that's how we
considering the trauma, like just the multiple layers of trauma. It's not just I went to hell. It's what he did while he was there.
Yeah.
And coming back and just so I think it's great that you bring up that heaven needs him, because there's so much guilt in these poor brothers. Like I can't even imagine. It makes me so sad, but there's almost something redemptive about this episode. Like, no, like I know you feel shitty, but this is what you are going to do. This is what you are meant to do. And it's, kind of a reconnective kind of thing.
Totally. Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. I love that. Well, that pulls us into the now, which we begin with a really nice apartment and Dean waking up. Dressed in a suit. He's even got that type of suit where it's like he's
got like the Gordon Gecko, like a different collar with the blue and white, like
the suspenders. Oh my goodness. I was digging it. I was digging the Wall Street, like,
yeah.
I love that. I love it.
It's 2009 and he's dressed like it's 1983.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anytime I've ever met anybody dressed like that, I do not like them.
Well, yeah. Yeah, and he's like eating a salad and stuff. It's like this montage of his day. And
Yeah,
he's
drinking
got, like,
coffee.
He's got like a headset. He's doing like the putting in his office. He's like, yeah, well, the numbers are Q3.
He's driving a Prius.
He's driving a Prius. He's turns
listening
off
to NPR.
He turns off rock and roll music to listen to NPR.
That's the biggest like bad thing that he does in this whole episode.
Yeah. Yeah. He deserves to go to hell.
I was about to say, that's what he should really feel guilty about.
Yeah. But we find out that he works at Sandover Bridge and Iron Incorporated.
Can we? I don't want to fully derail this, but I've put a lot of thought into this. I have no idea what this company does, because first of all, the company is called Bridge and Iron. So you're like, oh, it must be some sort of construction, civil engineering or something. But they have like a full fleet of tech support.
Yeah, that's not how buildings work.
And Sam, as tech support goes, did you unplug it? Did you plug it back in? Is it printing now? So it's like, wait, Bridge and Iron makes printers?
Yeah.
And then Dean is talking about like sales and stuff, and they have like geographic areas for sales. It's like, you're a construction company that has like Eastern Great Lakes sales. Like, what is this company?
I just thought generic stock market, maybe businessy thingy.
Yeah, it's like they may or may not be in product manufacturing or construction or like third-party sales.
It could be one of those company that like during World War I they like started making like guns, and then they were like, well, we're getting into computers, and then like
yeah, right.
Like they're like, well, we're still called this, but like we haven't done that.
Yeah, we're called Bridge and Iron, but you know, yeah, we're mostly making printers now.
Yeah.
We make them out of iron.
Yeah.
Like an old Singer sewing machine. Just a printer comes up out of a fucking thing.
Totally.
We've adapted.
Antique Borg.
We see that his in his office, his name is Dean Smith.
Yeah.
And yeah,
boring name.
Yeah, he spends the day basically making sales call, chatting to coworkers, and his boss, Mr. Adler.
Yeah. Big things.
Big things, that's right.
Yeah.
As he leaves for the day, Dean enters an elevator, and who's he standing next to but our old boy Sam.
God. Sam, for some reason, maybe it's just the outfits or the blocking
He's just looking
of this
more
episode.
and more swole.
Sam looks enormous in this episode. He looks like a monster. He's huge. He makes Dean look like a little bitty, like pocket-sized companion.
Which is crazy because like Jensen is 6 foot tall. Like
I couldn't get over it watching this episode. I was like, is Sam always this much bigger?
I think it's
Dude, Jared is huge.
He's massive, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's like 6'5", but this is definitely when he's starting to get bigger.
Yeah.
Just muscly. Also, just the way
He's growing up.
Totally. And growing out. Oh god. But it's interesting because the even just and we'll talk about it a little bit later, but the way that they're even filming is a little bit different. So we're probably also just looking at him in a completely different way.
Yeah, I figured part of it was like the framing of stuff, but like all episode, I was like, he is just like an absolute like gargantuan in these scenes.
Totally. So he's standing next to Sam, who is wearing a tech support shirt. Sam looks at Dean and asks if they know each other, but Dean doesn't think so.
She's like, what, a fucking cubicle loser like you?
Yeah. I don't speak to the entry levels.
Yeah.
The next day, we then see Sam sitting at a cubicle labeled Sam Wesson.
Even worse name.
Yeah. So he answers phone queries on his computer on like about broken computers and printers and stuff.
Yeah. Or whatever. Did you plug it in? Sir, it's a bridge. You're a Bridge and Iron.
You didn't answer the question. Did you plug it in?
Plug it in. It's an electric bridge.
Don't make me ask you again.
I don't know. Go find a plug. I don't know.
It's a 120-volt bridge.
Yeah. I stand by what I said. Sam has a little bobblehead of Dracula on his desk.
This.
Which is styled after Bela Lugosi's Dracula from the classic films, probably a reference to the Supernatural Monster movie episode from earlier in this season, in which a shapeshifter so enamored with classic horror films takes the shape of Lugosi's Dracula and dressed them like him. also past guest of the show.
Yeah, Todd Sashwick, yeah.
So he talks to fellow worker Ian, nonconformist, who refuses
Ian's
to wear.
so fucking cool. He doesn't wear the polo.
Hell no, he's stealing shit.
He's putting a bunch of pencils in his pockets because he's running out at home. What a cool guy.
Yeah, really
How many
neat.
pencils does he need?
I'm running out at home. I better take 60.
It's like doing what? Like, fucking just.
He's just like sitting in the dark, grinding them into an electric pencil sharpener until they're gone, and then
just looking in the
next
mirror.
one.
Sam tells Ian about his dreams in which he hunts things. For some reason, Dean Smith also appears in these dreams. I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
If I worked with him, I'd have dreams about him.
Ian is like, do you have another dream? And Sam's like, I shouldn't have even told you this. And Ian's like, come on, man, just tell me. And then like Sam tells him that Ian's like, oh, that's fucking crazy. You crazy. Like,
You fucking idiot.
you dork. It's like, Jesus, Sam.
What a piece of shit.
Man, yeah.
So
it is kind of hard to feel bad for Ian.
But it's also, you don't always get to pick your friends when you work in an office.
I suppose that's fair, too.
Sometimes just these are the people that talk to you.
I don't know. I just hire my friends, and then everybody around me I know.
That's true.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Aww.
Yeah, we're cute. So it's interesting because Dean and Sam have these surnames Smith and Wesson in this episode, respectively.
Oh, I get it now.
Yeah, like the characters' actual surnames, Winchester, the name Smith and Wesson is the name of a famous gun manufacturing company.
Well, now I feel stupid.
Yeah, look,
I was just like, who came up with these fucking names?
Smith and Wesson.
These are dumb.
Just never saying them together in your head.
My name is Dean AR, and this is Sam 15.
Now let's go to the school.
Yeah. Oh no.
Sam 15.
Nice.
Sam 15. Yeah, part of the Sam 15 club, if you know what I mean.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh, that's not legal. When Sam shares another elevator with Dean, you're gonna be all right.
Yeah, just don't worry about me.
When Sam shares another elevator with Dean, he asks him if he thinks about ghosts.
Oh god.
The worst. Like they're
Because he's like, can I ask you a question? And Dean's like, dude, I'm not. And he's like, I'm not either.
it's a good.
And,
God forbid.
And a whole
either
segment
of
of the fandom went, damn it, we were so close. And then and then Sam goes, I'm not either. Sam just goes, I just have a question to ask you. It's a normal question.
Do you like kissing?
What do you think about ghosts? Do you like kissing?
No, he asks.
Sammy's lucky he's got those big, beautiful eyes because
Mhm.
no matter the question, even if it's kind of a dumb one, it's like, oh, I'll answer you.
Unfortunately, Dean apparently doesn't feel the same way. He's just like, what?
Yeah, he's
It's like I've never given it
and
any
then
thought.
Sam's like, I have dreams. You're in them. Ghosts are there. And Dean is like, you're an oversharer, and gets off the elevator. It's very funny.
Back at tech support, Sam looks up supernatural creatures on the internet while answering more inane computer questions.
Yeah.
He's just like looking up vampire teeth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like
And what search engine was that?
oh, that's there. So I don't know if it ever changes. I think it's always this one that they sort of made for the show called like Search a Lot, I think.
Right.
It's their own sort of
Nice.
yeah, it's this cute little one that you can always see in the background where they basically anytime that they Google something, it's their Search a Lot.
It would have been funny if like later in the show it became part of the parlance instead of being like, I'll just Google it. They'd be
You
like,
search
I'm gonna
a lot?
search a lot it.
Yeah.
And they just like we made this bed. We gotta lie in it for the rest of the show.
I mean, that is something
We're
the show would
committed.
do. Yeah. So funny. Ian comes over to say that he's received a message summoning him from HR department, and Sam's like, I didn't.
Okay, but just before this,
Mhm.
they talked to this old guy that works there, Paul, who's like freaking out too.
Yeah.
Or he gets called up to HR and he's kind of freaking out. He seems a bit stressed or whatever. It was when they were going to go on break
Yeah.
and they were like, Paul, you want to come? And he's like, no, I can't. I got to work.
Yes.
And so like
Yeah,
someone
he
is
lost all his work.
well, yeah,
And
he's
that's
about
what
to
just
lose
happens in
all
this
his
scene
work.
right
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
Yeah. So Yeah, someone's already been called to HR. Ian took a bunch of fucking pencils for whatever demented thing he's doing at home. And then he got called to HR. Yeah.
You want to do a magic trick?
Yeah, he keeps breaking into meetings of crime bosses.
Yeah.
Just creeping everybody out.
But yeah, Paul is freaking out because he just lost all of his work for the day. And you cut to him like
furiously entering DOS commands, trying to get files back.
I love because Sam is like, did you back up? And he's just like, I wish I backed up. I didn't back up. Oh, God, do I wish I backed up.
Cuts to Paul's computer and it's like, C:/find what I did. .exe. It's like, error. No.
He somehow is writing in different codes until the evening after everyone's left.
Or he's just writing the same code and refuses to acknowledge that it's happening. So he's either being like, well, BASIC didn't work. Time to switch to C++.
God, your dad was a computer programmer in the 90s.
I will admit, as a kid, I used to code databases in BASIC for fun of just stuff I knew. So I would write like, if this, then go here things for like data trees of things I knew.
Oh yeah, you did tell me about this. Yeah, where you put all of your like
all the dinosaurs I knew, and I'd be like, if is it a carnivore? If yes, go here. If no, go. Like I would do that.
You were really popular, eh?
What do you think about ghosts?
God, you are cool. But eventually Paul freaks out because he realizes he's fully lost it all. So at last he gives up, saying that he has failed. He heads to the break room, opens the microwave, takes off all of the prongs off a plastic fork so that he can shove it into the microwave so that the safety latch doesn't work.
So the microwave thinks it's closed.
Yeah. Then sets the timer for 10 minutes and sticks his head just in it, screaming.
This effect is incredible.
Yeah.
It looks so good. His like flesh melting and his glasses sparking and shit like that.
Also, how powerful of a microwave is this?
Well, the thing with the fork, like, because I remember every time I'm like, wait, what is he? And then it's like, that is clever in like the worst way. But
I didn't write it down.
Clever.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, did the ghost give him additional knowledge, or has Paul kind of been thinking about how he'd use a microwave to kill himself for a while?
Because that's like very specific information, especially when we find out that the ghost is from like the 60s or 50s.
And we do eventually learn like he's not possessed.
No.
So it's like Paul kind of just has this in his pocket. Like
it's just in him.
Yeah, he's ready.
You could say that's his Control-Alt-Delete.
Jesus. It like moves away from the microwave and there's all this smoke and that over a sign that says, "Don't heat up your fish in here. It smells bad."
Yeah.
It's like that feels like such like a vintage Supernatural kind of joke.
Oh, I love it so much.
It's the office horror for some reason. I actually know I worked in too many offices, so things like this are just the fact that because that sign, there's a sign like that in near almost every office microwave.
Wow.
So there's something very eerie and familiar about it, but in kind of a like cliche way.
Yeah.
It's like
offices are very anti-seafood.
I haven't put that rule in yet.
Well, I don't know that anyone's abused it
yet.
Oh, I don't mean it doesn't even have to be like specifically seafood. There's always a sign.
Do your dishes afterward.
Some sort of passive aggressive comment.
A sign that got put up because they had to.
Yes.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah.
That's really.
Like, I'm not trying to be rude, but
yeah. Whoever's 3-month-old cake is in here. Could you please get rid of it?
Someone isn't washing their coffee cup named Mark, and somebody should probably wash it.
Yeah.
So the two victims' first names are Ian and Paul, which are also the first names of the stars of the very new CW TV show, The Vampire Diaries, that launched that year.
Oh, right. Yeah. Ian
Uh,
Somerhalder and the other one.
Yeah, David and Paul Wesley as Stefan Salvatore.
Sorry, his character's name was Stefan Salvatore. I'm not watching Vampire Diaries.
Oh, I'm sorry. Were you on the fence before?
I was maybe going to do it, but not if that's the character name.
So the next morning, both Sam and Dean are present as the body is carried out of the break room. I like one of the guys is just like, I'm not gonna be able to eat popcorn anymore.
No one in this office is doing any sort of crowd control. Everyone's just like standing around. Like the CSI techs are there, and everyone's just like there. No one's like, we should go to a different floor until
everyone's
finish
just
up here.
standing there. No one's doing any work. I think that this ghost boss, has something to say. I you know what? I think he's right.
Yeah. You know what?
Just a bunch of slackers.
Yeah, somebody died. Big deal. Get back to work. Profits.
I want to triple the number of microwaves on this floor.
Send a message.
Well, the one guy says, I'm never going to make popcorn again. Like, that's the worst part of this tragedy for him, is like, but I used to like popcorn.
Yeah, this ruins it for me.
Oh, damn it, Paul.
Yeah, kill yourself again. Independently, they both look at each other and then look at Paul's employment file and discover that he was planning to retire in 2 weeks.
Yeah, he was finally going to go on that trip with the missus they always talked about.
Yeah, that's all he kept writing into the computer to try to get his files back, where I'm getting too old for this shit. Sam mentions this to Ian, but suddenly Ian refuses to be distracted from work.
Ian's wearing the polo.
That's right. And working feverishly. He's just like, you can't bother me with this kind of stuff. Like,
he sold out, man.
God, what a fucking noob. Is that?
No.
No. Poser?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah. God, I am cool.
Yeah, Ian's pretty stressed.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm working.
But he then receives a message ordering him to speak to a manager. So he goes to Dean Smith's office.
Yeah.
Dean tells him that a form that he filled out the day before had some minor errors and needs to be fixed.
And I actually really love this scene because Ian is like, oh my God, how could this have happened? No.
I'm so sorry.
The profits.
And
Oh, but Dean, he is super friendly. Like,
Yeah.
I would love to have a boss like this. Like, oh, it's not a big deal. Like, just fill it out again and send it to me, and
Yeah.
that'll be that. But nope, doesn't work.
yeah, by the way, Reed, there was a form that you filled out
No.
on Friday. There was a lot of mistakes.
Not like this.
I'm not okay with it.
The profits. Yeah, I mean, Dean is like, it's fine, just fill it out again. Yeah, Ian is like inconsolable. He's basically gonna like commit like seppuku like in Dean's office.
He's like, do
essentially.
you have a microwave nearby?
Yeah.
No reason.
It'd be funny if every death was microwave. It's like that's what Bridget Iron makes.
Oh, faulty microwaves.
The inventors
It's
of
all
the
come full circle.
the inventors of the safetyless microwave.
Yeah, the ghost was actually trying to show them what was wrong.
It's so defective.
Ooh, better try again. They didn't get it last time. Ooh.
I'm just trying to help people. So Dean tries to reassure him, but Ian runs out of the office. Dean follows him to the men's room, where Ian
God,
is
I wish.
staring at himself in the mirror.
Yeah.
Their breath suddenly becomes visible, and all the faucets in the room turn on.
And the soap dispensers.
Yeah, things are
Yeah,
getting wet
kind of
wild.
like Ghostbusters 2 almost.
Yeah, totally.
It does have like a very like slime ooze kind of thing.
Suddenly, Ian pulls out a pencil.
Oh my God.
That he stole,
Yeah,
I'll bet.
Ian pulls out Chekhov's pencil.
Well, it's okay. Here's the thing, though. Doesn't it feel like all the deaths should be related to the ways in which these people are like hurting the company? Where if he's stealing office supplies, he kills himself with one. So is that like,
Maybe-
is Paul is the one that they had to put the fish sign up
He
for?
was
Now
the
it makes
one microwaving salmon.
Yeah.
He deserved to
yeah,
die.
my theory is that Paul was bringing in like 3-day-old scallops and heating them up, and
Canned mackerel.
and it was throwing off productivity in the room.
Look, I'm just saying, this manager had a lot of good
Canned
ideas.
mackerel. So specific.
Only because I know what it smells like and it tastes great.
Oh, interesting.
It's delicious. Dean rushes over as Ian gushes blood because he just shoved a pencil in his fucking eye.
And like, you know, when we see people in TV and movies who do like kill themselves or stuff like that, you know, there's always that thing where it's like this person is like overcoming like a biological barrier, basically,
Yeah.
which is like your self-preservation instinct. And there's always like a moment of hesitation or something. There basically like isn't. And it's not like he's pulling the trigger on a gun. It's like, this is quick. I'm not
No.
gonna feel this. The resolve to just jam a pencil into your neck.
Oh, that's right. It was his neck.
And
yeah.
hold it there, and it's like it's pretty fucked up. It's a pretty good scene.
Yeah, it's really fucked up. But just as the blood is gushing from Ian's neck, Dean sees an image of an old man in the mirror, but no one else in the room.
Yeah.
My God. Ian's body is then removed while Sam watches and Dean talks to security.
Yeah.
Later, Dean calls Sam up to his office. Dean asks who Sam is, and Sam says that he started the company 3 weeks ago. This is the same time that Dean also began working there.
Yeah.
Sam realizes that Dean saw a ghost and says that he believes the 2 suicides are ghost related. Dean says that his instinct is exactly the same.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, Dean is like having the same kind of thoughts that Sam is having, but he's taking more convincing, probably because he's not stuck in a fucking cubicle.
Yeah, it is interesting. They've really like switched their roles in this episode where like Dean is the one who's like the buttoned up one and Sam is the one who's just like wants to get into the action.
They have, but in a way it's almost laying into it too. Like Dean's like the cool guy, schmoozing, playing golf,
Totally.
doing his thing, and Sam is the one who has to like slog and do the work and like
Yeah.
is that kind of.
Sam tells Dean that both Paul and Ian had been summoned to the HR room 1444 not long before their deaths, and afterward becomes obsessed with serving the company.
Right. And they point out that HR is on 7
and
not on the 14th floor.
But 1444 added individually equals the number 13.
What?
1 plus 4 plus 4 plus. Yeah. That's how math works. I knew you were
well, I
letters
didn't know
guy.
you meant addition.
I said they added together.
Oh, well, I wasn't
I
listening.
mean, I was thinking like, wait, 14 plus 4 plus 4? So you
Fair.
don't feel too bad. I wasn't right either.
So they go to 144.
Spell it out.
Oh, hold on. You found my weakness. I can do numbers, but no spell.
Wow.
But they decide to go to the room in question to look around and discover another tech support employee inside being attacked by a ghost.
Yeah. Like the shelf like fell on him or something. And the ghost has like zappy hands. There's
He
like,
does. We finally get another zappy ghost.
finally another zappy ghost. We haven't had one in a while.
Yeah. Sam kicks the door open and Dean swings an iron wrench at the ghost.
And I like that both of them are like nice.
Yeah.
Like when they do that.
They do. We go back to Dean's apartment after this, and they start doing research, discussing how they were good at fighting ghosts, like almost like as if they've done this before.
Yeah.
When Dean asks Sam, like Shirley MacLaine before, he's referring to the actress Shirley MacLaine's strong belief in past lives.
Yeah.
Are you aware of Shirley MacLaine?
Well, yeah, I love Shirley MacLaine.
That's the first I've heard someone go, "Woo, Shirley MacLaine!"
In terms of endearment, y'all.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. But
Well, these are the terms of endearment.
oh my god.
Oh, nice.
Just sold a pitch of the room.
Pitch the tent in the room. But where do they do their research? Well, they've got to go to the Ghostfacers website,
This
baby.
okay. I love this. Is they're like, if we're gonna fight a ghost,
We got to look.
we got to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
And so they go like online and they find the Ghostfacers.
So good.
And so like they're watching these videos and the Ghostfacers saying like, find out what you're dealing with first, and then we see them like researching the guy that ran the company, and there's like, here's how to do like this or whatever. And then this was the moment I actually forgot about this because it's been a while since I've seen this episode. Up until this point, I viewed this as an entirely alternate reality. And I was like, man, it's funny that the Ghostfacers are still out there. And then they talk about like the douchebag Winchesters, and you're like, oh man, Sam and Dean have just been plucked. Like, this is real life, and they just don't know who they are.
Totally.
And I've forgotten that was like an additional layer to it. This whole time I've just been like, alternate reality.
What's crazier is that actual Ghostfacers webisodes were created to accompany this season.
Right.
So in the first one, shots of their workshop reveal a dartboard with the Winchester's pictures on it. If Dean Smith and Sam Wesson had watched all of the Ghostfacers online instructional videos, they likely would have seen those photos.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's interesting, actually. I like that.
So funny. It is the late P.T. Sandover, the company's founder, who they find out is the identity of this ghost.
It was always my dream to start a company that made bridges and also microwaves and printers.
Mrs. Moneypenny.
I don't know. Try to do like an old voice, and all I know was Connery.
It just comes out Connery.
It's Connery.
Welcome to the Rock.
It's because when I try to do Denture's mouth, it sounds like Connery's accent.
Oh, that's what that was.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense. It comes out Scottish for some reason.
Yeah.
And apparently they've deduced that he's creating model employees out of unwilling workers. Room 1444 was his office.
Well, yeah, and they talk about it's like in times of like economic distress, because there were a bunch of suicides in like 1929 or whatever, which seems inconclusive, but
oh, and wasn't this 2009?
Yeah, so it's like the big recession.
Yeah, I graduated from college in 2008, and I can attest, it sucked.
Preach.
Yeah.
I had to get 4 part-time jobs.
Ooh, oh man, that's brutal.
God.
That's really bad.
It's okay. I've got a much better job now, and I never have to work with children again.
Hey,
there's
nice.
a load off.
You got to have dreams.
So while Sandover was cremated, they assumed some part of him must remain in this building.
Yeah, because they're like, the Ghostfacers say, like, we also learned this from those Winchester chodes. You gotta burn the body. And they're like, great, we'll burn the body. I was like, oh, it says he was cremated. And they go back to the video. It's like, if they're cremated, don't panic. It's like, I really like this. It's almost like a training montage.
Yeah.
It's like, but the idea that Sam and Dean are learning how to hunt a ghost from the Ghostfacers,
which learned from them,
is so funny. It's such a good joke.
It's a great joke. So with Salt, sorry.
Oh, I just wanted to say, I feel like anytime they do kind of an alternate reality, or what I would refer to as trickster episodes, in which he is altering reality, like Mystery Spot, that episode in particular, like, really gave like Sam a chance to like completely go nuts, like when they're fighting over the axe. And so I really love these, even if it's not really an alternate life, or an alternate, it's not an illusion. Tricks, what is it? Trick is something a whore does for money. But I think it's really fun to, both for the actors and the characters, to get to deviate so much in these kind of, parallel worlds. It's always so much fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, Dean is, this whole time he's been doing the master cleanse.
That's right. Poor name for a thing, but I was like, I'm pretty sure someone's tried that before and it didn't work great.
Oh.
But yeah, that was a real thing back then.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, I remember lots of people doing that. So with Salt and fireplace pokers, they return to the room to look around.
Yeah.
Sam is spotted by a security guard who takes him to the elevator while Dean continues to look around.
Yeah, and it's important. I think it's important context to remember that earlier this security guard was found stealing elevators.
just
No,
one
he just
piece
goes
at a
in and-
time.
Yeah.
He just presses all the buttons.
Yeah, he's that guy.
Yeah. The television screens in the elevator go static. The elevator suddenly breaks down and the guard climbs out.
Yeah.
This is such a good scene.
I love when Supernatural
good.
does this, or any horror movie
Yeah.
does this, but the kind of like, we know what the expectation is, what the setup is, and we'll
really tease it out.
we'll flip it a bit, like,
Yeah.
because he hops up to climb out, and
he's
Sam's like, I don't want to climb out,
"Ugh."
and he's like, and he like is having a really hard time getting his legs over it in, and you're just like, no,
When is it?
no, and then nothing happens.
And you're like, oh, thank God, he's fine.
Yeah,
But then he leans back in.
yeah, to get Sam.
Yeah, and the a sudden jerk move of the elevator completely decapitates him in a way that I've never seen, which is like
at the nips, kind of.
Yeah.
Like,
Mm.
did
It's not
you
a
like this
full bite.
gore?
Oh my god! Well, you just reminded me. That's another thing about Supernatural that consistently kept my interest. Like sometimes the violence and especially the gore, like it surprises me a little what they could get away with. And I guess it's because they were a damn tent pole.
Yeah.
That's probably why. But
yeah.
so this scene in particular just really like. That's the dark sense of humor of this show, that like, you know, we know there are people out here that are just waiting for this to happen, and yeah, that kind of self-awareness. Oh gosh. So yeah, this I'd totally forgotten about that part. I remembered everything else about the episode except that,
Me too,
And-
honestly.
and it still makes me a little nervous. Like I get a little nervous in elevators.
Yeah, the like sharp left turn, like horror and like violence that the show will do just on a whim is always my favorite thing. It's a thing that I love whenever we have Kyle Clark on, which is he just is like, because he's only sees the episodes that we make him watch, and so he's always just like, Jesus, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Oh, Kyle.
Yeah, we have this weird thing where we only bring him on for the first episode of every season.
Oh my God. I mean, you know, I love Kyle, but I'm not so sure he would appreciate Castiel as much as us.
He hasn't gotten there yet, so
Well, I mean, he only saw.
oh yeah, he
the
did
first
see the
episode
intro.
of this
Yeah, and he was
season.
like, "This guy seems scary."
Yeah.
We're like, I
It's like
guess-
he is in a good way.
Oh yeah.
I'm scared how much I
want him. Yeah.
Wow, that came way too quickly for both of us.
Oh, God, if I had a nickel.
So Sam does manage to get out of the elevator, and Dean calls him with instructions to go to the 22nd floor, where a pair of
Sorry, I just want to say,
Yeah.
when the guy gets decapitated, we get a great blood splatter on Sam, and
Yeah.
Dean like walkie-talkies him, like, "Hey, are you okay?" And he's like, "I'll be there in a bit.
Yeah.
Call you back."
It is very cute.
It's very funny.
I love that. But the 22nd floor is where Sandover's gloves are kept, apparently.
Cool.
So as
Those are the gloves he built the first bridge with.
it's his first microwave.
And the first microwave.
As they reach for the gloves, they are attacked by Sandover's ghost. After a struggle, Sam manages to burn the gloves, and the ghost disappears.
Yeah.
John Hainsworth, who plays the ghost of P.T. Sandover here, appeared also in the season 1 episode Supernatural Faith in 2006, where he played the emphysema victim.
Emphysema.
Emphysema. That's the one.
Emphysema.
Look, I've never seen the word written before.
Emphysema is like your Italian third cousin.
She's not a looker, but
Yeah. Oh yeah. I forgot to tell you, Vinny will be there, but Emphysema will be there too.
Look, she means well. Just don't look directly in the lazy eye. He also appeared in an episode of Dark Angel, which also starred Jensen Ackles.
Right.
In Dean's office, they then talk about the experience. Sam suggests that they should quit their jobs and fight.
Yeah.
ghosts
Sam.
instead.
Sam asks for a second date.
Way too quick.
Too eager. He needs it too badly.
Dean says it wouldn't work, that they would have to live off diner food and stolen credit cards, and that they'd have no health insurance. I mean, not wrong. Sam admits that Dean is in his dreams about hunting. Which really keeps going back to that well. But you're in my dreams.
Start leading in. Zechariah person, like, wait.
Hold on. There's something very important you need to know.
I know we're the ones messing with you guys, but you have to stop.
This is not cool. I mean, it's sweet, but it's not cool.
We are not going to Luke and Leia this right now. Okay.
I don't want to have to like tell you, and it's gonna get.
Hey Zechariah, how did that experiment go? Weird, if I'm being honest.
Need to wipe their memories again. I need a redo.
We've actually run this 10,000 times, and it always ends
this
with
way. You like Doctor Strange looking into the future. It's like there's 14 million versions of this future where they kiss.
Yeah, it seems like it's meant to happen. I don't want to get in their way anymore. To be honest, I feel bad now stepping in the way. But Sam believes that this is not their real life, that something has been done to them.
Right.
Sam says that he knows Dean and that this isn't his life. Dean orders Sam to leave, saying that he doesn't know him at all. Because he's just like, what? Who do you, like, how do you think you know me? You're telling me that, like, I don't have the family I have? You know, like, my dad, Bob, my mom, Ellen, my sister, Joe, so aka Bobby Singer, Ellen Harvell, and Joe Harvell.
Dean's subconscious is doing a lot of heavy lifting in this fantasy reality.
So the next day at work, Sam uses one of the fireplace pokers to beat his ring phone into pieces, and he announces that he's quitting.
Yeah.
Cool,
I love
man.
that this is real life. Like,
Yeah.
his coworkers all got to see that.
Oh yeah, like
I hope it inspired them.
yeah, exactly. Like after this episode, those people are like, "Hey, remember that week where like a guy microwaved his head? Someone jammed a pencil in their neck, and the other guy fire pokered his desk and left."
Yeah, and those two guys that kind of
was
look similar
connected.
kept kissing. Dean is working at his office when his boss, Mr. Adler, comes in. He talks to Dean about
Played
his
by
work.
Kurt Fuller.
Yes.
You know, legendary character actor.
Incredible. Always a
Fuller.
dick.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
But he's
I'm just trying to think if he's ever not been a dick.
I don't
think you're right.
I
He's
don't,
always playing a dick.
which makes me wonder if he might be a little bit of a dick.
He was such a dick in Ghostbusters too.
Yeah, I think that might just be who that guy is, because typically, like, if there's a character actor and he only plays one type of character, that's probably close to who that person usually is.
So your theory is that if someone is good at playing a thing, they haven't been playing it at all?
If they're only playing that one thing always, there's probably a good chance that at least a part of them is that.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know many actors who play dicks all the time and aren't a dick. It usually lines up.
Interesting theory.
Harrison Ford. So Dean is working in his office when his boss, Mr. Adler, comes in to talk to Dean about his work and his future, offering him a bonus. And I looked up what that number is. I don't care what that job is. It said $650,000.
What?
Yeah. I was like, and he's not even like the VP of like the.
Make me the
Western-
VP of deploying Agent Orange for that.
Yeah.
I will take it.
Glad to know what you'll do for a paycheck. That's gonna be helpful in the future.
Did I reveal too much?
Yeah.
Little too honest.
Yeah. He's telling him that, you know, he'll eventually get to this really like this VP of like the Great Lakes,
Eastern Great Lakes sales.
Yes, it'll take him.
What kind of company is this? How is Eastern Great Lakes one of their sales regions?
And he could be just the VP of that.
Just the Eastern Lakes.
Yeah, and
I mean, if anything, the ghost of P.T. Farnsworth or whatever his name was should have been like going after this like excess of middle management and executives. It's like, you don't need a VP for all these regions. That's crazy talk.
Good news, everyone.
A $650,000 bonus. That's where you got not your people stinking up the lunchroom. You got to deal with that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a disparity in economic wealth going through the office.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. So, but he says, yeah, it's going to take you 8 to 10 years to get to that next position, working 7 days a week.
Yeah. Nights, weekends. I
Yeah.
won't lie to you. It'll be difficult.
Dean hesitates, then takes off his Bluetooth headset and goes, yeah, I quit.
Yeah, he says, I'm giving my notice. I got something more important I got to do.
This is not who I'm meant to be. And
I can't
Adler
really
laughs.
talk about it, but I think I need to kiss that guy that works down in the IT.
Gotta shoot my shot, man.
Yeah.
There's a bond between us, and it must be sexual.
What an uncomfortable phrasing.
And then Adler goes, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Maybe you might want to know that he's your brother. And he goes, that's fine.
You know, I've seen this 12 million times. It still doesn't get old.
But he taps Dean on the forehead, and suddenly Dean Smith is Dean Winchester.
Yeah,
because
because like Dean says, like, I got to quit. And he goes, there you are. And he like gives him his memories back. And we learn that Mr. Adler is really Zachariah.
Yeah.
He's Castiel's superior, angel-wise.
It's interesting because right at this moment, so while the Winchesters are living their alternative lives, the filming of this episode is really colorful and brightly lit. The boys are even kind of trade their normally dully hued outfits for these yellow polos and bright blue button downs.
Yeah.
The instant Zachariah returns Dean to his regular life at the end of this episode with a touch, the shadowing notably goes grayer, dimmer, and the lighting dims back to the normal tone of the show's early seasons.
Yeah.
And Dean asks, did I just get touched by a you're an angel, aren't you?
Yeah.
Which is very cute and an indirect reference to the show Touched by an Angel.
Yeah, I mean, they've made like 20 Touched by an Angel jokes at this point.
It's very true.
But this has the great line. It's like, my God, I'm hungry.
Yeah, because he's just been eating salad and master cleansing this whole episode.
No, this whole time. Like that poor baby.
Yeah, anybody who's eating healthy, just think they're hungry.
Dean looks at
You're
his
not really
Fitbit.
happy. You're hungry.
That's right.
Dean looks at his Fitbit and goes, I haven't had any fat today.
Yeah. This cannot stand.
My grease levels are dangerously low.
So, yeah, we find out that he's Castiel's superior. Dean says, oh, so what? This was all some sort of lesson? Is that what you're telling me? Wow, very creative. Zachariah responds, you should see my decoupage. Which, this is the first time I ever figured out what this meant. Because, so Dean responds, gross, no thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, what? So, decoupage is an arts and crafts thing where you glue bits of colored paper, leaves, snatches of fabric, etc., to something for decorative purposes. Décolletage is a different thing.
Yes.
Décolletage or whatever. I don't know. What's the pronunciation in French?
Décolletage.
Oh, look at that. Which is what Dean was thinking, which is breast cleavage or a low neckline that reveals cleavage, which I would never have known. I did not read that.
Do you know what, though? I think the joke, like, reads anyway as Dean just not knowing what the word is.
Sure.
You know, like,
That's
even
kind of
if-
how
I'm
I always
assuming
read
it's
it.
something super dirty.
Yeah, even if it wasn't, like, close to another word, like, he could say, like, decoupage, and Dean could go, like, oh, gross. And I think the joke still works.
Because he's so dumb, he just
Yeah,
assumed
it's like
it.
anything French, instantly it's a sex thing.
Sure, that's fair. So we find out that Zachariah came to Earth after the situation with Uriel and planted Sam and Dean at this company without their memories, so that Dean could realize that he is a hunter through and through.
Yeah, and actually, like, Zachariah has an interesting thing that he says here, where he's like, listen, like, you are just looking at this all wrong. You get to drive a cool car. You eat like the food you want to eat. You bang the chicks you want to bang. You get to like fight monsters and save the world. You know, other people go to their graves and what's his line? He's like, they only move as much dirt as it takes to bury them.
Yeah.
You're actually like
I
changing
love
the world.
that line.
Yeah, it's a great line. He's like, you're actually changing the world. So how about you stop being a whiny bitch and fucking save the day?
It's true.
Yeah.
Fulfill your fucking destiny.
Yeah.
Dean threatens the angel, but agrees with his point.
Yeah.
And did y'all notice when he threatens him, he's getting frustrated. He says, like, I will stab you in the face.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening to Zachariah?
Oh, shit. That's right.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Oh, I didn't even think of that, actually.
Wow. That's the end of the episode.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Holy shit. Well, let's talk about our reviews.
Whoa.
So, Amy, you are our guest. Why don't you give us a summation of sort of your thoughts on this episode and then some sort of review out of 5, whatever you'd like.
All right. So, as I mentioned earlier, I am also an X-Files fan.
Hell yeah.
And there's a wonderful episode from, I want to say, season 5 or 6. It's Folie à Deux. And it's set in an office building where this guy starts to believe that his boss and some of his coworkers are not human.
Oh,
that
shit.
they are in fact slowly, like kind of body snatcher style, being replaced.
Right.
With like some sort of insectoid version of them.
Yeah, I do remember that now.
Right.
Yeah. And so it's been a long time. This episode reminded me a lot of that one.
Right.
Because it makes like a very mundane, sterile environment suddenly really threatening. But in almost like a satirical way.
Totally.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, like people are literally like, they're losing their souls to their job. And it's like,
yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what you do. Capitalism. Woo woo.
Yeah, work is great. You love work.
Yeah, I love work.
You want to die at your desk, right?
Yeah,
So-
for the glory of marketing.
Yay! Ah!
So, yeah, I really enjoyed this one. And also, like I said earlier, I love when they get to go into like an alternate timeline or kind of a parallel kind of world. Because it lets them go a little nuts. It lets the actors stretch a bit. And it's also, this one is fun because it's another very self-contained, like just little ghost story almost.
Totally.
Like there's, you know, huge context around it. But at the same time, it almost like exists on its own as just kind of a fun, like, oh, it's that episode. It's the Office episode.
Totally.
So I give this one, I want to say, solid 4 out of 5.
Ooh, nice. What about you?
I love
Mark
the
Grace.
silliness of them in these like odd positions.
Totally.
Obviously, you know, Dean driving like an electric car and listening to NPR and eating a salad.
He's literally Sam.
I mean, it's in a way, it's like the laziest form of joke, but it's like, that's not Dean. And it's
It
like,
works.
It works. I like it. You know, like, I still go in for it.
It's probably, what's funny is that it's probably kind of close to who Jensen is.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I love that stuff. What I like is like, we've had enough of these, like, it was a dream or it's a djinn or it's something like that kind of, or it's the trickster, that like finding out that it's like still the world, that something's only happened to them. It's not that like the world has changed, is actually like puts some stakes back into it. Cause you're like, oh man, like those people are just dead.
Yeah.
Like those other people are just like,
Because that's what Zachariah says. He says like, oh, no, this just was a thing that was happening. This ghost thing was here. We just put you guys in it.
yeah, you know,
Yeah.
like it's
That's kind of the twist.
Totally.
yeah, and I
Like
think
a
I
twist
like
in
that.
a twist.
Yeah.
It's again, it's that thing that Supernatural does so well, which is like assessing like which cliches you're used to and then finding a way to fuck with it. The small version of that is the double bluff thing on the elevator. And then
Yeah, exactly.
the bigger version is like, we've done a few of these alternate reality things. Well, guess what? It's not like all hunky dory at the end. 3 people are dead.
Yeah.
You know? And all of a sudden the next day, these people don't have their like VP of, you know, West Coast sales or whatever Dean's position was. He's just gone. I like all that stuff. I think the gore really works in this episode. It's relatively light on like action, like fights. There's a couple of things, but not really. Because even like the first fight is like they do one thing. Dean does one thing with a wrench because it's them getting the mojo back, right? So there's not a ton to that, but the gore works really well. The joke of them having to learn from the Ghostfacers is great. So funny. I like even to the point where Dean is like, yeah, we could be ghost facers. It's just like it's a really good moment. I love all of that stuff. And ultimately, Zachariah gets an intro in this episode that is not
it's not Castiel level.
It's not Castiel level. It's not
Nothing
even,
can be.
True.
but it's like we keep ramping up. The thing that we were talking is how much Heaven needs Dean. And like the fact that like Castiel's boss has come down now because of all the stuff that's happened. And he's like, don't you get it? And he's like trying to win him over. I love that speech that he gives and that bit about like people not moving enough dirt to bury themselves or stuff like that. Like it's a really good speech and Kurt Fuller is great. So there's a lot I like about this episode. I'd probably give this one, I'm going to give this 4.5 safetyless microwaves.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I definitely I probably just saying a lot of the same stuff. I think one of the things that I like is that they're really drawing this connection to like and it's kind of perfect that this is the episode that Zachariah comes in on because it sort of takes Heaven and is like, it's kind of a business. And like,
I was just going to say, like, absolutely. It's the bureaucracy.
Exactly. So to have him be like the boss in this is drawing connections that maybe he even didn't intend to happen, but also is sort of going like, hey, you need to just do your job.
Well, because we have established like that there's a reporting structure for angels. Part of the problem with Uriel is part of the problem with Uriel is he doesn't go with it. He doesn't go along with it, right?
So the thing that like he's pitching him, and the thing that he's going, hey, you don't like this, that's because you get to hunt, is actually just going, hey, you're doing this, but it looks like something else to you.
Yeah, make no mistake though, in both scenarios, I'm the boss.
Exactly,
kind of thing,
right? Yeah, it's sort of going like, hey, you have no free will. You're gonna do what I tell you to do, and you're gonna fulfill the job. Like you're gonna punch your clock every day and just do it what you're supposed to. But hey, you get to eat food and bang chicks, right? So that's fine.
I mean, like, Zachariah is not necessarily threatening in this episode, but just angels are.
His existence feels
just on a whim, just to teach him a lesson. They fuck up like a month and a half of their lives or something insane like that, like just for no reason at all.
Exactly.
Well, that's another like subversive thing that the show does, because when you think angels, you think like divine benevolence. And the fact that they make them just much more complex, like maybe slightly corrupt or devious, like it just really, really, it throws you off, because it's like, oh my God, well, is it almost robotic the way they define like good and bad? And are they too strictly following a code or a leader? And it's pretty cool, because now it's like, well, I clearly don't know much. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, they're basically just expecting Sam and Dean to fall into these like roles that they've set out for them, which is really, this is the time where you go like, yeah, we've been hearing about this, but now it's like the upper level management is coming down to be like, no, fill your fucking quota.
Yeah, the stakes keep like raising.
Like the analogy works on more than one level, and probably more than what maybe even Zachariah had intended to, which is really, really interesting. I love the comic tonality of the whole thing. I of course love the way that they were able to sort of like bring in the like characters like the ghost facers and by juxtaposing what their normal life is. It's like it's funny, but also it's like, oh yeah, their life is weird if you look at it from the outside as well. Like, yes, this life that we're looking at seems weird to them, but this is also just normal life for most people.
Yeah.
So it's funny to that they're like, isn't this weird? And it's like, well, no, but I guess if you're looking at their crazy ass life, that this is kind of weird. But then to also point out things that like, it's like, hey, we have to eat diner food and pay credit cards. Like, who would ever do that? You couldn't live like that. Like, it's funny that they have enough like foresight and like metatextual like perspective to be able to go like, hey, this we get this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Which I love. So yeah, I'm going to have to give this 4.25. No, 4.5. I'm going to give this a 4.5 fish heads.
That's what Paul was reheating?
Yeah. Fish heads. That's why he became a fish head himself. because we're a construction company.
I guess. We're here to sell construction nationwide
through microwaves. Amy,
synergy.
Amy, thank you so much for coming on the show. Tell everybody about what you got going on.
All right. So I do a podcast with Kyle Clark and Jen Saunderson called Everything is Scary. And actually, we have a new episode out today, Saturday, when we are recording this.
Ooh,
Yay!
What are you guys talking about?
We are talking about, it's a Jen pick, Mill of the Stone Women.
Ooh.
And yeah, it's a real Jen movie, very atmospheric, kind of pre-giallo kind of thing. It's actually very lovely. Not quite as, it's not as gory as I would like, but I'm also okay with that.
Yeah.
So Jen brings like the atmospheric stuff. You bring in the gore. What does Kyle bring?
Oh, actually, I actually made a little breakdown of this. Amy equals gore.
Okay.
Jen equals grit. And Kyle equals Kyle.
That's the most accurate thing I've ever heard.
Somehow I have a perfectly clear picture of what that
means. Yeah. As someone who's been friends with and trying to figure out Kyle for over 7 years, that's the best I could ever explain it to.
I'm glad you can appreciate it.
That's really funny.
As a man who just received a bunch of very cryptic texts from Kyle today, yeah, that makes total sense.
Me, I'm simple-minded. I'm pretty easy to understand.
Yeah, give me blood and guts. I'm happy. Oh my God. I love it. Well, we would love to keep this conversation going as well. So why don't you reach out to us through our Patreon and you could subscribe to our Discord?
Yeah. So we have a $1 level on our Patreon. It's patreon.com/ghostfacers and it gets you onto Angel Radio, our Discord server.
Hell yeah.
We can talk more about fun SPN stuff and the tangential pieces of it. Weird Walker 19th century prequels and whatnot that are happening.
Don't get me started.
But yeah, it helps support us, and we all get to chat together. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. You can also just send us an email to ghostfacerspodcast@gmail.com or reach out to us through our various social media platforms.
Yeah, we're at GhostfacersPod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Make sure you subscribe and leave us those 5-star reviews. We love getting those, and we'll read them on the show. You can also buy some merch that we talked about at the beginning of the show, ghostfacerspodcaststore.com. Or if you like comic books or think you might, why don't you subscribe to our other podcast?
Yep, the Dr. DC podcast. We answer listener questions about DC Comics. You don't need to know anything, but if you like the way we talk about lore and stuff over here, you might enjoy us talking about superheroes.
Hell yeah. So, Amy Drolet, please say goodbye.
Goodbye.
All right, say goodbye, bitch.
Jerk.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.